Good evening to our dear viewers. Today we shall be looking for another topic of discussion. Why we announce the topic, we are going to be waiting for our guest of today. We're going to be waiting for our guest of today. Today's topics, and the topic of today is BUI Fonds Union in crisis. We are here to identify the failures and chart a way forward for our community. So we're waiting on our guest. So for the host of today, I am forming one Wabinka, who is the host. And looking at the topic of today, we can see that the BUI Fonds Union was created to unite, protect, and promote the welfare of the people of BUI. However, many now question its effectiveness. And in this discussion, we will examine the failures of BUI Fonds Union and brainstorm possible solutions for restoration and see the way forward. While waiting on our guests of today. Greetings, bro. Sorry for the late coming and as well.
Thanks for me. Good evening, and good evening to everyone free to join us.
I've been a bit busy
with 2 things. I think I'm good to go.
Our guest from just told me that he's still on his way home, and I think while waiting on him, we can start doing it. I don't know if he's still on traffic, and I think we need to see how things move on, Doc, Prof. So I think we can continue the program while waiting on him. He will join us soon as we move on. I also wish to give special greetings to Mostly Electronics and Photos. Greetings, Mostly Electronics and Photos. Also, wish to greet Constancy from Sir. You are highly welcome to the show. Welcome live from Yaoundé. So on today's program, we are looking on BUI Fonds Union in crisis. That's the topic of today. Identifying the failures and setting a way forward for our community. So we are looking on what had happened that may generate the failures of this trade union that we once had in BUI division, and at the same time, we might be talking on what could be the possible solutions as well. So with us here is Prof Jude, Professor in Linguistics in the University of Betua, and the author of the Mbiami history book, which I have my own copy. Many have not gone through, but I think the person who is the backbrain of this wonderful write-up is no other person than Prof Jude. And Prof, you are welcome on the Caroline live system on the BUI Fonds Union in crisis. So Prof, we might be giving you some time to also do some introduction while we move forward. Thank you,
Prof. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Tam Fome Wabin Omka. It's a pleasure to be part of this live broadcast this evening. And as you rightly put it, I am Berinyuy Jude Tangwa, Associate Professor in the University of Betua, involved in interdisciplinary research, that is linguistics, history, culture, and then literature. I'm also into creative writing, and most of my works have been studied in the universities across Cameroon and even abroad. So it is a pleasure to be part of the gathering this evening, and I want to believe that our exchange is going to help the audience, is going to help probably be a feature for the BUI Fonds Union that we very much cherish. Because in the 21st century, being in a union is one of the fundamental things that mankind tend to benefit. When you're in a union with people, they come across with different ideas. And at the time when many traditions are going down the drain, the time when some of our cultures are gradually fading out, I want to believe maintaining BUI Fonds Union and other unions, especially in that geographical space, should very much be encouraged. And as we progress, we'll say more, we'll talk about where we feel we could do better. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. As I earlier said, Prof is the author of Indian History book, which says Indian in the beginning, yesteryears, and nowadays. And I also wish to show the copy of the book for those who have not seen this. I think you go to Prof, you can get your own copy, which we are going to see more about the heritage. And while we move forward, we are looking at the BUI Fonds Union that was created to protect and promote the welfare of the people of BUI division. And nowadays, we see a chaos in which this union has not been fully functioned or on duty of what it was meant to. So, looking at this, we also saw a revival some few months ago, where our fathers met at Bafosam to see how this union can come back to limelight. And we know that we see some of our key fathers, which we thought all our fathers would be there. So, bringing Prof on the session, we'll be trying to see if we can share ideas and see what could be the failures of this. Why today we don't have the Buffon Union again, which had been a program which I can even put people like Philemon Young, the former prime minister, who had championed some of these activities to see our fathers together. And today, Prof, what do you think could be a possible failure of this? What has happened from that magnificent gathering that we always see it holistic and enjoyable within our condom, to see it as a tool of unity within the people of Bui? Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Tam for me. I would not like to qualify BUI Fonds Union as a failure. I want to take 3 stages in the course of this discussion to say, for example, BUI Fonds Union went into what we call hiatus in English, that is a temporary break, a pause, probably because there are 1 or 2 things that were not going on. And the belief of everyone who holds tradition at heart was that after that hiatus, after that temporary break, it was going to come back. But then we moved from a temporary break to what we call sabbatical. That's an extended break. It was temporary, became extended, and we saw years passing, we saw decades passing. And then finally we were where we are, what we can call hibernation, or refer to it as hibernation. That's into a deep, inactive situation of the union. But one good thing that comforts me is the fact that the funds are still there, the fundums are still there, and so I will not consider it as a failure or consider it as something that has a future that can be revived. Because if it had felt like the League of Nations felt, we would have replaced it. So we are not talking about replacing BUI Fonds Union, is looking at what did not go right. And one of the things I'd like to point out, which I feel contributed to this hiatus and then sabbatical and then hibernation that we are witnessing now, is the notion of the mandate. When our funds sat and started a union, did they really take into consideration about mandate, about an executive bureau, or was something built on trust? Because if mandate was put in place, wherein we are aware that if after 5 years, the president of BUI Fonds Union is from this palace, when the next session is coming, we should rotate. and believe that if, for example, we started with the fund on top, the fund on Car could come, the fund on Biami could come, the fund of Oku, the fund on None, Binon, and so on and so forth. And so one of the fundamental things I find which must have contributed to this hibernation that we are witnessing today is about the mandate, rotational, and then having specific posts. Because I have the feeling from all what I gathered, it's as if we had just maybe the president and the secretary general, and the others were just members. We need a structure that is standardized, a structure that is conventional. We have the key posts that we have in the bureau, and then we need to make it rotational so that everybody feels the concern. Because if it's just about one person or one president come from one fandom, it can turn to be like, why should it be this? That's one of the things. And then secondly, we will need, one of the failures too, I feel, is there was no strong constitution, a constitution wherein the funds established that had to help them so far as the association is concerned. Again, I want to believe that it was on mutual trust, believing that we are one people, we come with different identities, we understand ourselves and move on. And so I think that contributed to it. And then one other thing that I want to believe contributed to this hibernation is the political elite. I think politics started setting in. Why the funds were meant to have their union wherein they discover or discuss things that relate strictly to tradition. It is true, it's very difficult to separate tradition from politics, but there is a thin line. And that is why when you hear that funds are not supposed to be in politics, it does not necessarily mean that the fund cannot support a particular political party, but we are talking about an overt support. Because take, for instance, if you are a fund and you belong to the funds union, maybe you are the president or the secretary general, and we find our funds belonging to different parties where they openly support one and others think that it should be the other one, it somehow weakens the association. You can individually support the funder or support the party you want, but you stay out of it, because if you have 5 children and all belong to different parties and you take sides, how do you succeed to govern these children? One would definitely feel hurt that my father is of this party and the opposite make me feel that I don't belong. And so the coming of politics and the political elites, which started influencing the functioning of this union and the behavior of the fund, contributed to its failure. We were to go back, we need to look into that. Again, one of the issues too had to do with this silent tussle for power. Silent tussle for power. You know that there's a saying in English that power corrupts, but absolute power corrupts absolutely. You know, time for me, you just need to be given a position of power. We are all human beings. They are our fathers. You know that funds come from, but the power to come from God. After God on earth, we have the fund. But again, at the end of it all, they are still human. Just like Jesus Christ, who was the direct Son of God, was still human, and we could see human weaknesses in some of his behaviors, in some of his reactions, so far as certain situations were concerned. And so there was this silent tussle for power, wherein one is sitting and asking himself, why should I only be the one, the secretary? Why should it be the other one person presiding? Why should I not also be given the chance to do? So this silent tussle for power, pride, somehow weakened the association. And it comes back to the mandate. If there was a mandate where we believe that after this, another person can take the presidency, I think we are not going to reach there. And then another major weakness had to do with meeting grounds. You know, this was supposed to be rotational. If, for example, in the month of June, it takes place in Funds Palace, probably the next one they should go to Oku, they should go to Nse, they should go to Miami, they should go to Kar, and so on and so forth. But then there was this kind of tussle wherein some funds began noticing that when a meeting is to be held at a particular palace, there are particular funds that will not come. But they will expect that when it is held in their palace, everybody should be there. I think you understand what I mean.
Yes,
It is
Prof, I
very
understand.
normal for any other
So
fund,
very
if
clear.
I'm the host who have in Jangi, wherein I know that Tam for me is hosting and I don't go. But the day I'm hosting, I expect Tam for me to come. It can happen once, but when it comes twice, thrice, it becomes a routine, it becomes a habit. Question mark begin to the cracks begin to
Very clear.
show on the world. And this is one of the things that I want to believe contributed to the failure. And then you also realize that the sudden emergence of the social media, the youth, wherein disrespect for some fandoms by individuals without limit, without control, and lack of consistent and persistent sanctions from the fandoms or policies that those individuals held from contributed to it. It weakened it because, for instance, if I'm a father and I have neighbors and my neighbors' children keep on insulting me, and I know that their parents are aware and I don't see them taking action, I will feel very bad. And when I feel bad, I want to take my stand. I also want to take a position wherein I need my respect, I need my integrity, I need my dignity, I need my personality. And so, generally speaking, these are the kind of things I feel contributed to the hibernation. We started with hiatus, temporary break, moved to sabbatical, a long and extended holiday, and today we are in hibernation, we can call deep inactiveness. But we cannot continue like this. Time for me and any other person following us. One thing we need to understand that is that in life, change is the only thing that is constant in human life. When you do not accept change, we are too stiff and too resistant to change. You end up destroying the very change and relationship that if you had listened to this change, these drum beats about change that we have had over years, you will know that there is no way you can fight against change. It is like standing on the way of the waves. It is not possible. As time passes, as people grow old, as science come and discoveries come, change become a constant thing that we have to stick into. Even in the past, in the conception of the BUI FONS Union, these are the ideas we had. And then eventually we realized that these ideas no longer hold water. What is holding us back from opening up, for our funds opening up and saying that, okay, we can adjust this way. That is why when we have a constitution, you realize after some time, certain clauses in the constitution are revised because as time passes, they become obsolete. They no longer hold water. They no longer reflect the realities. And so basically speaking, this is what I consider to have been the reasons for the hibernation that BUI FONS Union has observed over time. And maybe when we come to the second part, I may talk about the way forward and other things that I feel we could do it. And then before I step aside, one thing too has to do with the hijack, we'll call it hijack, of BUI FONS Union. Yes.
Yes.
By individuals who started behaving like they had to teleguide and telecommand the way the funds function.
Yeah.
That contributed a lot for us to find where we are.
I'm going to that. I'm going to that, Prof. Yeah, I'm going to that. And there's a question on that. And first of all, I wish to thank you for this great analogy that you have brought forward. And I think, yeah, we are here to learn, and we give open criticism to anyone getting us now. And you have any problem, you are free to table. We are going to answer you. We have a prof here with us, and he's ready to get to all the questions that we want. First of all, I think we should greet some of our viewers who are with us. So I wish to extend greetings to uh, Banlajo Mustafa Christopher, who is watching us at live at Kalom in Yaoundé. I also wish to extend greeting to Mbashi Elvis, who is also watching us live in Yaoundé. Shufai CC, yeah, also watching us, and also trying to say the project is given a constructive point and learning a lot. Also wish to greet want to for a mountain fund. Yeah, watching us live from USA. I love this initiative. Prof Jude Berinyuy. Tangwa is always on point. Thank you very much. Once for a mountain fund. I also wish to greet one fund favor who is also watching us live from Wenka. Yeah, and also I wish to thank our darling platform, Nzeremiam. Yeah, greetings in Carolina and our able Prof. Book. Thank God. So those are the people calling us for now. While we also have people on live station, so we also want to encourage each and everyone watching us live to also indicate so that we can acknowledge your presence. So, Prof, before we move forward, looking at this a great union that was once cherished, which we call the BUI FONS union, and we see at the collapse, and you have given series of points which may have caused the downfall of the drug bar of this forum, which you describe in your words as you might not call it a failure, but you might give points that might have bring this on a slow mode. So, Prof, we saw what happened in Babusam, and we saw the recent rebirth of this great union, which uh, this brought somehow a bone of contention to many viewers, and many questions were being asked, looking at the number of funds, and people look at it very well, looking at the organizing committee or the organizing body of this great activity that we saw in Babusam, which when we talk about the division, we're talking about Kum, we're talking about Noni, we're talking about Kumu Center, we're talking about Mvam, which is Biami, and we're talking about Zakiri, which is the Kwa. And looking at the funds within the division, we see that we have more than 22 funds that are within this area. When I look at the recent calendar that was being published in the year 2008 about the funds in BUI, and looking at the ones I saw in Bafusam, they were only 7 in numbers. And I wish to ask Prof and someone coming from DME. I looked at it, I didn't see the phone on DME, I didn't see the phone on CAR, I didn't see the phone on SNAP, I didn't see other phones within this union. I don't know whether if like a son of the soil come from DME, if the phone of DME aware of the union, or was it a program that was being uh, uh, worked by a particular group of individuals to see how our phones can meet? Because to me, I know that the phones have a channel in which they do meet, but I still saw that as a playing body to champion this program, to champion this meeting. And to me, I don't know if you might have something, because if that thought that was there could also be seen in Bidakula, I could also be seen in Kardeka, I was seeing representative coming from Zermiam, coming from Sir, coming from Ogda, but I still saw that as the main player. Could it be the absence of this fund could be as a result of the people championing the program, or the funds within this fund deliberately refuse to attend this rebate of the people's union of some?
Okay, for me, thank you once again. I want to start by saying that the idea of thinking that the BUI FONS union should be revamped is a welcome idea. And I want to appreciate those who took the initiative for funds to meet. At least there is need for somebody to start something. But then the key problem lies maybe at the level of the approach. There's always what we call in English, there is the matter and there is manner. We have the content and you have the container. You can have wonderful content, but you put in the wrong container. You have if you are a car, you are driving somewhere and your car runs out of fuel, and you take a container meant for kerosene and you go and buy fuel, definitely you will knock your engine. Not necessarily because the content which is a fuel is not a good one, it is simply because you are put in the wrong container. And so the matter is as important as the manner. You may have wonderful ideas, but if you are not guided, if you do not have the spirit of discernment to understand the feelings of others, it becomes a bit difficult to succeed in whatever you do. And so they had a wonderful initiative. Given the context we live in, we know what the crisis have cost to many of our fundings. But then the question is, did they matter? Did they approach? Did they follow the right approach? I will say no. First of all, let's talk about communication. Communication is very key in every organization, in every human relationship. Most of the misunderstandings, the wars, the conflict, the disagreements and the separations we have today in the world, it is not because they were meant to be. It is because of communication, lack of effective communication. Your idea is genuine, but if you do not communicate well, you end up hurting people. You end up creating and stirring anger where there was not supposed to be any. Let me take the example of the gathering in Bafusam, which, as you rightly put it, I think the number of funds that are known in BUI should be above 22. There are more than 20. The question we'll ask ourselves is, why should a division that has over 22 funds, only 7 are attending? What went wrong? It is about communication. Now, who took the initiative is important, but whoever took the initiative cannot be the problem, cannot be where it failed. When they took the initiative, how did they go about it? Take, for example, I am from BMA, and when whatever happened, I try to find out do my research to understand exactly where did it go wrong. Time for me, you will not understand that emissaries that were sent to BMA to inform the fund about the meeting. The meeting was supposed to be on Friday and Saturday. They were sent on a Tuesday or Wednesday, something like that, either Tuesday or Wednesday. To me, this is lack of respect for a fundum and for a reunion that we expected all the funds to be there. Is it that they suddenly realized that BMA was supposed to be part, or they simply wanted to push an agenda to say we invited the fundum BMA and he did not come? Then, secondly, we have different associations, as you rightly pointed out. If we understand, it is true, it's supposed to be a funds union, but the funds cannot roll without the people. The funds are running over people. And within the different fundums that we have in BUI, there is at least a legal structure that covers issues of tradition and development. Let me take, for example, in SO, we have SO Development Association. In BMA, we have Bidakula, BMA Development Association. In Ka, we have Kadeka Development Association. In Sa, we have Ndeka, Sa Development Association. In Oku, we have Okda, Oku Development Association. In Noni, we have something like NECDA, which is Noni Development Association, and so on and so forth. Time for me. What does it cost, or what could have cost the initiators of this project to get in contact with the leaders of this association and they sit like a family? Because one of the things I noticed from the background is that it looked like those who initiated came imposing. It was like it is their project. I have my baby. I have to give you a little time to hold it, and after that, you give it back to me. But this was supposed to be a kind of situation where you have an idea. Not everybody has the talent or win the inspiration to have such an idea. you call these people, you call people who matter and say, let us sit somewhere. This is an initiative. But when you take it and you carry it as an initiative of an individual and others are coming there just to be hand clappers or just to be members, there is a problem. Maybe the people had the intention of everybody coming to participate, but when it was presented, there was a problem. And then we can move from there to talk about, I also heard from when I did my investigation to find out, I heard that it was presented not from the beginning, not as BUI Fonds Union, but an initiative by the elites of BUI for funds to come together. These are two different things.
Okay.
If it's about BUI Fonds Union, we expect the funds to initiate. It's about elites of BUI who want to initiate to start something so that BUI Fonds Union should be revamped or should be revived. It is something else. These are two different things. We cannot mix up the two. Because even if we were to participate in a meeting where the funds of BUI are gathering, there are moments that the funds have to go into a conclave where nobody should be present.
Correct.
That is when they get into the spiritual world. They communicate with the ancestors, the gods of the land, and they inspire them. We may only be there probably because notes have to be taken based on what they have had their conclave. When they're having their conclave, us, we are not supposed to be there. But what I noticed, well, from the pictures, we are not there, and the videos, we could realize that no conclave actually took place because everything seemed to was being discussed in the presence of everybody, except it took and we didn't see it. So that is from the perspective, it is you are saying that elites of BUI have decided to start the initiative, which is good. The question is, who are the elites of BUI? Can you talk about the elites of BUI? And you don't tell me. Yes, please.
Okay.
I was saying that if it's about the elite.
Yeah.
Can I continue?
Yeah, continue, Prof.
Can I go? Okay.
Yes,
I was saying that it could be a good initiative. For example, that it was done by the elite, which is wonderful. When elite can start, two can start. But for it to be a success, you cannot talk about the elites of BUI and you ignore elites from other fondoms in BUI.
Perfect.
The elites of BUI are not centered on a particular fondom. We have elites from Gami, we have elites from Kar, we have elites from So, Oku, None, and so on and so forth, sir. Well, we are these elites brought to the limelight. I doubt. I have a very big question mark on that. And that contributed greatly to the failure. Because when there's no communication, it doesn't work. If, for example, an elite of Mbiami, and the fund knows that the elite of Mbiami are based in Yaoundé, they are based in Bamenda, they are based in Douala, and then you receive royal call, and you are getting the news too from the fund. It is problematic. Yeah. It's a problematic and so issue, basically speaking, yes, if it has to be with the elites of BUI, let us, we are not saying that all the elites of BUI will come, not at all, far from that. We can decide to say, all right, okay, let's have elites, 2 elites from each fondom, 2 elites from each fondom. But if you want to have 2 elites from each fondom and there is one that you feel 10 elites will come from there, there's already a problem. Because there will be a problem of imbalance, wherein others will feel they came just to participate, and when it comes to maybe voting or taking a decision, there are voices that will definitely overshadow. That is the first part. If it had to be with the funds, if we were the funds initiating, time for me, I want to believe that our fathers, the father of Nkar is my father, the father of Nkar is my father, the father of So is my father, so Noni, Oku, and the rest. They are our fathers. We cannot deny that. And I sometimes feel a bit worried when I see children from certain fondom come out to lack respect for other funds because they feel they are not their father. That is not the way to go. Not at all. I cannot hear that the fund of So is passing somewhere and I come and stand without a cap because Aka is the fund of So, or the fund of So, or the fund of Kildun. Not at all. They are put there by the ancestors. We have the right to respect them. But if all these our fathers have, this is a modern world. In the yesteryears when modernism and then modern communication was not yet there, the fonts had a way of communicating. We have tomb fonts in every palace, even if the name is not the same, whereby a font can have an initiative and then send somebody with a sealed message to another palace, and the social media is not aware. And then he goes and delivers a message. The font looks into the message with the Mwerong of that palace, with the council of elders of that palace, and then communicate back to his homologue. And then before we realize their things are moving. But we'll stand in an era wherein before one phone comes, the blockers are already there. Cameras are already everywhere. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. And so the question is, was there really communication between these phones that they should meet in Bafoussam? I really doubt. So far as BME is concerned, I really doubt. I doubt strongly if there was communication among the phones themselves and not sending somebody. And one of the things too had to be with the approach. Time for me, you cannot allow an individual or individuals to be calling phones and inviting them to come for a meeting. Where has our tradition gone to? It doesn't work. That is lack of total respect for our traditional institutions, for our funds. Funds can talk among themselves, but not individuals calling funds and inviting them for a meeting and brandishing a different agenda. And when they are asked, what was the meeting for? What is the meeting for? They say it's a secret meeting. Which kind of secret meeting will you expect our funds to leave their palaces to come for a meeting when they do not know an agenda? Remember, the funds are there because we have people around them who can advise them. On their own, they cannot roll. They can't be able to roll on their own. They need people to say, okay, we are thinking this way, even though you are not imposing. That's why they are council of elders. The fund needs time to have these people around him so that he can get information from them before he goes for whatever is supposed to be taken. The last two things I will say, concerning Bafoussam, has to do with, let's take, for example, we are in the period of crisis. Time for me. Nobody can pretend not to be aware of what is happening back home. We have funds that have stayed for 3 years, 5 years without ever stepping foot out of their territory. The fund on Biame, for example, since he was enthroned almost 10 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, he has gone out only 5 times. And since 2023, that he returned from America, he has not stepped out of Biame. There are conditions under which they have to be fulfilled for the fund to leave the palace. The fund does not get up one morning and say, okay, I've been invited somewhere. Mwerong has to sit. Mwerong has to give the go-ahead. If we still respect our institutions, I think we know that Mwerong is the powerful structure so far as every fundum is concerned. And then, why BUI FONS UNION in Bafoussam? Why? BUI is not located in Bafoussam. At the worst of it, we'll talk about Bamenda, the capital of the Northwest. Why live all the way and carry the funds from BUI, where they're in the Northwest and the capital is Bamenda of the Northwest, and you make them cross to another region? These things may look minor, but they're very capital. If these funds leave and by the time they come back, they are told that they went for a political meeting. That's why they had to take it out of Bamenda. How do you put it? So these are some of the minor things that maybe the organizers did not take into consideration, but it counts a lot. These things are very important. And so we are talking about BUI FONS UNION. We have to think of having it in a place where everybody, if not everybody, at least 80% of people will feel comfortable. And that's why you can notice the low turnout, where out of 22 or more, we had only 7 funds who were present. So these are some of the things that I feel the meeting in Buya or in Bafoussam failed to address?
Thank you
Thank
very much,
you.
Prof, and for this presentation. Yeah, as we have people with us that we are calling up us as people like Sam from Bonso, working from Biame. We have Luke Kunshimwa, working from Ngusu Yaounde. We have Mountain Andrew working from Baturi. We have Bukat Fai working us from Romziki. We have Shewoli Wong working from Yaounde Simok. We have True Fancy. Yeah, he says, I must admit, this is very good and a constructive topic regarding us as the people. So we have people like we have Rudkam, Rudkam International, also trying to watch us live. We have Rachel Berry watching from Tonga, and we have Shufan City. Yeah, Shufan City has a lot in the comment section, which I think we shall be looking on onto. So before we move ahead, to add to what you have said, Prof, when I look at the organizing committee that summoned our fathers in Bagutam, I think there was something fishy because to me, when we talk about it was an elite gathering, trying to see how our fathers can come together. I see there's a bone of contention somewhere because if they were the elite, as earlier said, elites from other kingdoms would have been there. And we also have presidents from other condoms and kingdoms within the division be present. Looking at the people, the body that champions this question in Bakutam, I see it on Soda. I don't have any problem with Soda. When looking at the previous history, I would see that some of these condom or development association within this condom are not intact with Soda or moving hand in hand with Soda. So, which to me, it was a secret agenda which was being brought by a particular group of association that is answerable to a particular fandom, which I believe to that because to me, Kadeka is not answerable to disorder. Bidakula, Ogda, and the rest of Ogda is as well. So if we are supposed to look for an organizing body, I think we could look into this. Maybe the idea was brought by the Soda executive or the running body of Soda. They could bring this as an idea which could be thrown to other associations, and we could also see a running body like a BUI running body that will champion this program. And to me, if in order to sit and summon our funds, that is against our tradition. I don't know whether it was a mistake or something. They did it knowingly, because when I look at the past BUI Fonds Union that we had one at in so at St. Augustine College. The next one was taken from Kar at the veterinary school in Jakiri. We also had the next one was taken in Oku, and that's why I was moving to from palace to palace. And I have never seen elites partaking in this. I have pictures because I know our fathers are like the mouthpiece of the gods, and they know what the gods are really saying to them, and they know what the right thing to do. So if we could summon our fathers, and if you look at the sitting position in Babusam, I will tell you, even if the phone card was there, I would not accept because you will look at where the phone of Oku was, and you see that he really knows his right, where his own sitting position was supposed to be, and you see series of corrections that he did from what was being written, and you see that there was something fishy that it was a message was being tried to pass through, which somehow it was tightened and it could not go through. You could see a series of corrections that the phone of Kuku did, and saying that this is how it's supposed to be when it comes to a paramount phone of Bui, which it becomes something that it's causing more nuisance within the society where we come from, which the phone of Kuku corrected it and said the paramount phone on top, which we know our father to be the paramount phone on top, and which to many people like the youth, the young people, give insulting words, and when I look at that, it look somehow, which those were mostly negative impressions, which you might see the effect of some of us coming to summon our funds, which our funds know the right quarters. If our funds know who can summon them and who can do the right thing at the right time. So to me, I think Soda had a good idea, but to me, the way they tabled it and the way they managed it was the management body was somehow faulty. Yeah, and from my hearsay, I don't know how true it is. I heard a delegation was being sent by the son of Diani, in which uh, he was asked not to attend. That is Shufai Lam, who later took his travel back to Yaoundé. He was being asked to represent the fund, and the Cities Union was being uh, summoned. That means it was a private meeting that only the phones were being allowed. And looking at the private meeting in which only the phones were being allowed, you see people there that were not that had nothing to do with the throne. Yeah, there were people there that were not even there at the rank of CAs. They are not even Sufis, but they attended this meeting. So to me, I think the organizer uh, felt as well they might have a certain drawback within the attitude that they performed during this private sitting, during this conclave. So to me, if they could ask one Shupai from one fundum to leave, that it was meant for funds, and the person think it is not a fund, then there must be something that we might not know, as I may say. So looking at the absence of other funds, we might not know what our fathers are talking with the gods, and they have their own ways of doing it. If there are people to advise the fund, we have a Tando and the rest, not many people that are like organizing bodies to the military association trying to summon our funds together. So to me, if we could look onto this, it was a good idea. I heard the next session is in September, and I don't know how the preparation is, but hearing that is still body, we are not against the idea they brought. It was a good idea, but presented at the wrong time and at the wrong position and at the wrong direction. So to me, I think our fathers know themselves very well, and they know how this BUI FONS union was being run. And to me, I've never seen people who are not funds are taking in this union, and they know the way they program it. And I think if our fathers really come together and bring a common initiative, I think everyone will be very happy to also support this union. Bring it in as a private meeting or private reunion that was being brought by the elite. I think there might be some tiny uncut teeth and on that eye somewhere that we need to look at them crucially before we move forward. We might not blame the funds that were not there. Maybe they also see on the lamplight that we are seeing, and this revival of revamping the funds union was a great idea, but the way they took it was somehow to me, I can let me not say illegal, but to me, it was not the right path to do so. So, Prof, before we continue, I would like we don't have much time. The presentation might be too long. So, what could be the possible solutions that we see? What do you think can can bring back this powerful reunion? If that they can revamp this powerful reunion. Do we have any bone of contention from any from this reunion or leading to failures? And how can we fix it? How can we fix it to be back? What do you think, as one of the elite from the army, from BUI, as possible solutions that can revamp the BUI Force Union back to normalcy?
Thank you once more, come for me. I will start by saying that we need to make a clear-cut distinction between three things here. We have BUI elite, we have associations from BUI, we have development and cultural associations from BUI, and we have BUI FONS union. These are three different things that they may have a similar objective, same goal, that is unity, peace, development, and cultural promotion. But I want to assure you that they cannot be mixed up. For example, If we want a meeting of BUI elite, maybe from there they need to think for the way forward. Let's have a meeting of the BUI elite. If we need a meeting of associations in BUI, let it be a meeting of associations in BUI. If it's about BUI Fonds Union, let it be a meeting of funds. We need to draw clear-cut lines between these three so that we don't find a situation wherein there is a power tussle, where nobody knows where this one ends. It is true that some of the elites are part of the associations, but not all of them. And not everybody who is part of the association is an elite from that place. And so these three need to be clear. If, for example, this was clear during the meeting in Bafusam, we will not be confusing between a secret meeting organized by elites from BUI, a meeting chaired by an association in BUI, and then we will not have a situation wherein at the end of the meeting, they are talking about association in BUI. And interestingly and curiously, some of the key associations that have been operating for years or decades are not mentioned. When I was talking with somebody, the person told me that they could not be mentioning names of associations that were not present. But that is not true. That's not serious. That cannot be serious. You will not tell me that, for example, if I'm a parent in a school, because there's a PTA meeting I don't attend, suddenly I cease from being a parent. I still remain a parent in that school. And so if you go to make a summary to say that a recognized association in BUI are recognized by who? And you are saying that we are recognizing only those who were present. And the question I asked the person was, I saw association from Noni recognized. I don't know which one was present from Noni or which delegation came from Noni. These are some of the minor things that we may do, thinking that we are trying to favor somebody. We are trying to be a niche for ourselves, but we are destroying the very unity. We are further dividing ourselves. That is it. Now, you talk about a possible solution. You already talk about Shufai Lam, for example. The fund of Mbiami cannot send a representative. Shufai Lam, for crying out loud, is one of the 7 Mbais, one of the 7 notables of Mbiami. How do you kick him out? How do you kick him aside? Those are minor things that we may do without measuring the consequences. But the people sit back. How do you want the fund of Mbiami to feel? That I struggled, even though I couldn't be there, I struggled and sent somebody to listen to what was being discussed, and the person was not given the chance. At the same time, they are saying that it was a funds union, but we are seeing people there who, to me, I don't know whether what titles they have, whether their titles are above that of a Shufai, a buy from a fundum, or how did it go about? The way forward, we need to correct some of these things. If, for example, we decide to hold a meeting, let it be clear. Is it BUI elite meeting? Let it be clear. Is a meeting about association from BUI? Let it be clear. Is about BUI Fonds Union? Let it well be defined so that we know who is playing which role. It's about the elite. We expect the elite should lead. I will not expect that it should be confiscated, maybe by somebody from a particular association. Those are some of the way forward that you can put on the table. And as we are planning to meet, please, let's have an open spirit. Let us be genuine in our action. Let us move away from this hegemonic behavior by thinking that if we are not there, it must not work. You can be a good initiator, but not everybody is called to be a leader or to be a good manager. You can have wonderful ideas. If you share ideas and you realize that your ideas are good, but you do not have that power, you don't have that talent, that potential to manage, you can also step aside and work from the background. The problem is that most people feel they must be at the center, they must control everything. It cannot work like that. So we need to move away from that type of mentality. It's going to help us. Time for me. One of the things that is eating us up in BUI and across other society is this: we keep on plastering the wound. We keep on plastering the wound. You cannot have a cancerous wound that is eating you up and you feel that the solution to it is to plaster. No. At one point in time, let us open the wound, clean it with good heart, with genuine heart, with good intentions, and then clean it and apply the right medication so that the wound should heal. Unity has no price. Peace has no price. But you don't force unity, you work for it. You don't force peace, you work for it, and it comes naturally. And most of these things that make us to have difficulties and these challenges is lack of a proper and appropriate communication, effective communication with good intentions. It looks like we find ourselves in a situation whereby everybody is a suspect. Somebody from BUI suspect somebody from some from suspect the other one from CAR, and then the routine goes on. No. At one point in time, let us ask ourselves, let us try to come together. In fact, as I said at the beginning, our unity is non-negotiable. But for this unity not to be non-negotiable, we have to have an open heart. We need to believe in one another and do not do things that hurt others. If you hurt somebody and is telling you, we had the case of George Floyd in America, where a policeman put the knee on his head and he said, I cannot breathe. You cannot be putting your knee on somebody's neck and he says, cannot breathe, and you keep on putting and saying that you must breathe by force. No, you cannot work like that. At one point, take it up and find out what is it that you cannot breathe. Let us go with open-mindedness. Let us be clean. Let us be clear. It is true, no one is perfect, but let us listen to the discerning voices. People cannot just get up one morning and begin saying that this is not good, this is not good. And instead of us condemning things that others do that are not good, we do selective condemnation. It cannot work like that. Let us stop selecting what we condemn, because if, for example, somebody from BUI does something bad and we cannot condemn when it has been established that this is good, this is bad, then we are not helping. I have seen situation online whereby some bloggers bring evidence of things that are eating us up. And then instead of coming up to condemn that this is not good, in fact, we need to look at it. They say look at it the other way around. We cannot keep on going round and round and round. We were rigmaroling, and rigmaroling cannot help us out of this situation. I told you at the beginning that times are changing. The only thing that is constant in human life is change, and we have to accept change. But then work on that change so that it should be a positive change for everybody. We cannot sit and decide to tax some people who feel that maybe the knee has been on their neck for some time, and you think that they are breaking division. Find out what is it that these people keep on insisting on. I think that's going to be one of the ways out for us to be able to move forward. Another thing is about respecting the identity, the autonomy of every fundum in our land. Let us respect our condoms. Let us respect the integrity of every fundum. Let us respect the identity and the autonomy. You should not allow administrative boundary or modern administration to kill the respect we had for our traditions. No. I should be very proud when something is happening in CAR. I come there from BUI. I'm proud to be there because I'm going to a brother's house. I'm going to my father's compound. I should be happy something happening in Tonso. I should be going there and wearing my traditional attire like somebody from BUI. I have a feather. I am proud to go and stand and say, I'm time for me from BUI. I'm time for me from CAR. And I'm not going to be looked into. Where is this one coming from? We need to move away from that. And there is need for sensitization of the youth. The social media is not helping the youth. We have children who barely understand what is going on, but when you listen to them talk, when you listen to them comment, when they make react to certain things in the social media, you ask yourself, where are we going to? Yes, that's it. Where are we going to? For example, BUI cannot write their history and you people think you should get up to fight the history. No, BUI has a right to tell their story. They have to document it for the coming generation. If they are factual, if they are verifiable, why should we say it is faulty? These are some of the things that we have to go forward. Let us at one point in time try to respect give honor, give dignity to our different fundum, so that the unity and the peace we are talking so much about will easily be achieved. And so I want to believe that it will move in this line of thought. It's going to help us a long way. And coming back, I want to end by talking about different associations. Every fundum, I don't think there's any fundum in BUI that is not governed by an association meant for the promotion of their culture or development. We have to respect each association. It is true, there are other associations that are big, maybe because they have population. It is not because your parent gives birth to you and there's one who is small, another one who is bulky, one who is tall, another one who is short, that suddenly because I am short, I should not be respected. We, for crying out loud, we are from the same ancestry. Give my honor, give my respect my identity. Respect is mutual. In fact, you don't ask to be respected, because when you are respected, when you respect others, automatically the respect will come back to you. And so I think the way forward, we have to take all of these things in consideration, and then remember that communication is key. I want to come out with just one small anecdote that I want to put. Let me just give you an example of how communication can change things. There is a father who was very, very stingy. He had kids, and children feared him. They were not always ready to approach him because he does not always have money. But they knew that the father was rich. And so the father was going on retirement. That's the 60th birthday. When people gathered, it was about every child getting up to say whatever they have to say about the father. Many feared to talk, others just try to pretend. But the last child of all, with elder sisters, elder brothers, and the rest, nobody least expected that that's the person who could change the heart of the father. When his turn came to talk, he walked up to the pulpit and then removed a letter. And people were like, "Your father is here. Why will you be talking to him through a letter?" He said they should allow him to communicate. This is the content of the letter. He said, "Dear loving dad, on the occasion of your 60th birthday, I would like to congratulate you for attending this age. But I've decided to grade you on a number of things. 1, as a loving father, you scored an A grade. As a loving husband to our mom, you scored an A grade. As a God-fearing somebody, you scored an A grade. As a duty-conscious citizen, you scored an A grade. As a staunch traditionalist, you scored an A grade. But so far as pocket allowance is concerned, you scored a C grade. Dear Dad, how do you think we can help you improve on the last grade so that during your next birthday, you should score A grade across the board? Happy birthday, Dad." The father started crying, shedding tears, got up to the microphone and said, "For everyone who has been talking here, this is somebody who has touched his heart, the soft part of his heart in the right way. Behold, he promised that he was going to increase pocket allowance. And as God will have it, in the next birthday, Pa scored A grade across the board." This is language used in communication.
Yeah.
You have the content, you have the container, you have the matter, you have the manner.
Yeah.
If you do not reconcile these two, at the end of it all, the message will not go through. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Before you go, there's a question come from Sufine CC to you direct. I think maybe I hope you can see on the screen. Can you see the question? Do you see the question? Sending with open spirit.
Okay. Okay. Oh, I have
Yeah.
seen the question. Thank you, Shufan Sisi, all the way from Switzerland. He wanting to find out whether there were some people present in the so-called conclave of funds meeting who represented some funds. This is for a clearer and understanding and accountability for us all. Thank you, Shufan Sisi. That's a very pertinent question. I'll answer by saying that, one, I was not present, so it is difficult to know whether there was anybody representing somebody from any fandom. Then secondly, from the picture I saw, maybe my eyes did not see well, I noticed that there was no fund from Noni subdivision, called Noni subdivision, except I didn't see well. But in the course of taking into consideration the fandoms that were present or the associations, I think the one of Noni was taken into consideration. So I do not know whether there was anybody from any fandom representing a fund. But then my worry is if there were people from other fandoms with their funds, could it also be possible for an open spirit, since it was just the first meeting after the hibernation I talked about, to have an open spirit kind of thing? Maybe by accepting those who came to represent their funds, they may take a message back home, which could be very crucial. But by simply blocking them, I think it didn't help in many ways. Imagine that Shufai Lam attended that meeting and took the message back to the fund of the army and said, this is the spirit of the meeting I saw. I want to believe that we are up to something. And then we also consider that when such meetings are coming, let the necessary arrangement be made in time. It could go a long way to solve a problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. To look at our viewers of today, we have so we have Lukon Wenshinwa, we have Lentum Andrew, we have Mwaka Eunice Kai, we have Woli Wong. Yeah, we have Shufai CC who is coming up powerfully with questions. We have with us Rachel Berry, Association of Tonga. We have Lewis watching us from Bamenda. We have Leonard watching us from Mbiani. He said the day program for the conclave in Pakistan was in Tangrin, and the phone of Mbiani do not go for any outing on such days. So Tangrin are reserved for public holidays or reserved for the phone not to go out to any area within these days of restriction. Yeah, we have Emil Zubara. Yeah, he says thanks for educating others. We have woman there, coming up. We have Daudi is watching us from Buya at checkpoint. We have Madame Delphine watching from Lam in Miami. Something like that. Delphine. We have Tamanjong. Yeah. So thank you, Prof Berry. We have Shufan Kizia already got him. We have Renee Paul. We have Godi Brown, Sparta, Tao Leon, that is also live with us. Yeah, and welcome Tao Leon from Leon Facebook page. Yeah, which he's also standing the fact that sources indicate that the envoy representative of the phone on Biami was denied entry. Yeah, we also have Madame Delphine coming again. Yeah, so he said that was my grandfather, Shufai Lam, one of the seven Dubai. Okay, welcome, Madame Delphine. We have Shufai CC coming up with more questions. Yeah, we don't have time to on our site, Town CC, watching up from the UK. We have also Tomla Victor, yeah, who's also watching us from Yaoundé. Yeah, we have series of questions. So on our next session, we are going to come up with questions and answers, which everyone will be given the floor. So thank you, Prof, for coming with us. As I earlier said, that Prof is one of the elite of BUI and one of the elite in BIMI we do have today, and the author of the history book of BIMI, which is BIMI in the beginning, years, and nowadays. And as I earlier said, for those who have not got a copy, it's a nice book and very educative. And it means said that if only you can tell your story, no one can give the right version of yourself except you. And I wish to thank you, Prof, for that initiative, the gesture, and the courage you took to come up with this wonderful write up about the people of Miami, their story and their history, and who they are. So, Prof, how can we get this book of Miami? The beginning, yes, and nowadays, before we leave, so you might tell our viewers, for those who want to get a copy, how can they get a copy for themselves to read and get the more historical heritage of the Miami people?
Yes, the copies of BME in the beginning, yes, and nowadays are available with the publisher, Nya publishers situated in Yaoundé, precisely about Chesimeyong. There's also Wongbe Leonard, based in Douala, who is one of the distributors. There is Yaba Akone, based in Douala, one of the distributors. We have Mbashi Elvis, Kemayu, based in Yaoundé, one of the distributors. We have Tangwa Usmaila, based in Yaoundé, one of the distributors. And then in Biame, we have Tanlaka Emmanuel, who is based in Biame, is one of the distributors. And then in Boya, I think Boya and Kumba, you can get it through OFM, who shuttles between Boya, Kumba, and Bamenda. You need copies, you can also get through OFM, the president of Lidakula. And I think it is also on the website of a Nya publishing house. You can get a copy from there. And I want to end this by encouraging all of us to read our histories. Please, sometime when you pick a piece of work written by somebody, do not rush into conclusions. Have a discerning spirit. Calm down. Listen to it with an open mind. You may be learning something from there that you are not aware. There are a lot of things that have been said about people. Sometimes you may just hate somebody for the wrong reason. If you just listen to what people say about a person without getting closer to understand who that person is, you may get it wrong. It's the same thing with history. When you hear about the history of a people, do not despise it at a distance. Get closer, and that could be of importance to you. So I want to use this opportunity to thank Tamfome Wabi, and that's the CEO of Funkar Holland, for inviting me to be part of this program, and to thank everyone who took off time to follow, especially Shufine CC, right away from Switzerland, and for the key question that he asked, that I want to believe helped clarify a lot of things. Sincerely speaking, when we make an initiative like this, let us stay with open spirit, because with open spirit, we can be able to get a lot so far as our histories, our fandoms, and our traditions are concerned. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Prof. Before you go, Prof is not only the author of a history book of BIME. Prof has a series of tales. We have Jonijos Palapala, for those who don't yet have the copy. This is Jonijos Com. Then we have Clash of the Eagles, still the author, which is Prof Jude Berinyuy. And we also have The Return, which is still Prof Jude Berinyuy. So for those who are good in the works of arts, you can get to Prof, especially those who are running schools like principals. We may have other teachers and academicians that may also want to know more from some of these writers from Prof. You can get to Prof directly, and I think you might enjoy some of these piece from Prof Jude as well. So, Prof, thank you very much for also coming online. We also wish to thank our viewers, those who encourage us, and as we always say, Caroline is open to everyone. Caroline is an open space, and we are ready to do more We are ready for critics because we believe critics are the way forward for better presentations. So we are very happy to have everyone on board. Those who followed us, those who followed Prof, and I think if we are living now, you might have learned a lot. And I think we are giving proposal, we are not imposing, and we are trying to give a voice to the community to see how we get better results in the coming days. Thank you, Prof, and good night. As we meet again for another session to come. Thank you very much for also responding
Thank you.
positively to our presentation. Good night, Prof.